Sometimes when we're working with simple interest problems, the problem will give you a time that's listed in something that's not years, perhaps months or days. So this clip is all about doing that extra little step to convert the time into years before we can go ahead and put it into our simple interest formula. Let's have a look at our problem. Calculate the interest for each row in the table below. And we've been given a table that's set up like this. We've been given a principal, a rate, and a time for 3 separate problems, and we're asked to calculate the interest for each one. However, sometimes the years is expressed different. Here you see it's in years, here you see it's in months, and then finally in days. So we'll have to do some converting. But before we do that, let's recall our simple interest formula that looks something like this. I, for interest, is equal to P, the principal, times R, which is the rate, and finally times T, the time. So we'll be using this formula for all of these problems. So let's get started with the first row, which I'll call problem A. And I've set up a little area to do my solution for problem A. The first one is actually a pretty simple problem just because the time is already given as years, and as we discussed, this t variable needs to be in years before we can calculate for I. However, I still need to convert my percent into a decimal. So just to recall, to convert 4% into a decimal, I'm going to write down my 4 without the percent symbol. I'll add a decimal point, and then what I'm going to do in effect is divide this number by 100, which means I slide it 2 places to the left. And if I have a gap, I'm going to add a 0. So my rate converted to decimal is 0.04. Now that that's converted, I can go ahead and solve for the interest in this problem. So I'll say I is equal to, the principal is $1,000, so I'll add the 1,000. The next variable is R, the rate, which we just converted to 0.04. And finally, T, time, is given nicely as 2 years, so I don't need to convert that in this step. I can just add a 2. And now I can solve this by using the calculator if you'd like. And I'll say 1,000 times 0.04 times 2. And I get an answer of 80. So for problem A, the interest is $80. And I'll add that to the first blank in my table. For problem B, I've been given a time that's in months, so I'll need to convert that. So let's start problem B. I'll still need to convert my 6% to a decimal, but I'll just use the same steps I showed you in problem A, where I'll write down my number, which is going to be a 6 in this case, and then I'm going to slide a decimal point 2 places to the left and add a 0. So 6% converted to decimal is 0.06, and that will be my R value in this problem. My T will need to be converted into years, and since it's given in months, what I will do is divide the number by the number of months there are in a year, and that will give me years. So there's 12 months in a year, and the question has 24 months. 24 divided by 12 is 2. So 24 months, which we probably already guessed, is 2 years. Now I'll take my new R value and my new T value and use the simple interest formula. So again, I is equal to, in this case the principal is 4,000 times my new R, which is 0.06, and my new T is 2. And for this calculation, again, you can go ahead and use your calculator if you like. I'll just show you that the final answer is $480. And I'll add that to my interest area for my second problem. Okay, let's move on to C. In C, I've been given a time that's in days, so let's convert that into years now. First, I'll convert my 8% into decimal using the same steps I showed you in A and B, and I get 0.08. My time is in days, so I need to divide the given number by the number of days there are in a year. And there's 365 days in a year. So 730 divided by 365. And you can use your calculator for that if you like, but I'll show you that that is actually 2 years again. And now we're ready to use the simple interest formula. So I is equal to, the principal in this question is 8,000. The rate we converted to 0.08. And the time is 2 years. And you can use your calculator for that step too. And I'll just show you that the interest in this question is equal to $1,280. So let's add that to the table. And there you go. There's 3 different examples. Just remember this. If your time is given in years, you don't even need to do an extra step. You can just plug this value right into the simple interest formula for t. If your time is in months, as we saw in B, we need to divide the months by the number of months there are in a year, which is 12, and we got 2 years. In C, the problem gave us a time in days, and we needed to divide that number by the number of days in a year, which is 365. 3 different ways to do a problem. Now I'll let you practice a problem over here using the same steps I showed you on this side. So here is your table. You have 3 problems. Why don't you go ahead and try these 3 problems now. After some careful converting and some number crunching, we've come up with an answer of $300 for A, $240 for B, and $720 for C, and the solutions are posted down below here.